What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Tony Reads. Okay, so in today's video, this is going to basically be my summer wrap up or book review, whatever. And I'm gonna, I'm a little bit embarrassed, but it's only going to be two books. I just haven't been reading a lot, but whatever. It's just a hobby, so I do it when I want to, and when I don't want to, then I don't. So anyway, the first book, I will say I'm happy with both the books. And also, I will say that both of the books were recommendations. So the first one is called The Landlord, and it's by an author named Brandon Massey. He is a Black author. I never heard of him ever before, but a subscriber actually recommended the book to me based off of some of the things I've said that I liked about other books, like about roommate situations or whatever. This one wasn't about a roommate at all, but it kind of had a theme that I actually really liked. So what it was, it's actually based out of Atlanta, which I love because I live in Atlanta. And it's about a couple, a husband and a wife. And this was a while ago, so I don't remember their names really. They had two kids. They were kind of sort of down on their luck. The wife was a teacher, but she didn't really make enough to be like the breadwinner for the family. And the husband was like, I don't want to call him an aspiring author because he was an author. He wrote books, but he never really like made it big. Like he didn't have any bestsellers or anything like that. But he was an author, and they were living in a apartment or whatever, and they were tired of living in an apartment. Kind of sort of want to keep up with the Joneses. They didn't really say it in the book, but that's what I sense, being like, because they always make comparisons to one of their friends. And so they were looking for a place. They ended up finding this house, big, beautiful, nice house. I mean, like huge, way bigger than an apartment, in a nice neighborhood and everything. And so they pulled up. The lady that they met with, her name was Ms. Carver. And she was some old haggly lady that wore some long black dress, like she was going to go to a funeral or whatever, kind of creepy looking and everything. So they met with her. She was really snarky, making kind of like side jokes about how bad their credit was and how they didn't have, that much money and all this kind of stuff or whatever. And so anyway, they ended up, their credit score came back when they were applying or whatever. And they needed to put like down some deposit. They didn't really have it. So the wife had to like whip out some cash that she had got from her dad or whatever. And all that stuff. If you read the book, you'll see why I'm even mentioning that, why that even comes up in the story. But anyway, like I said, they didn't have much extra and they had bad credit. So they were like barely making it into this house, but they wanted it really bad. And so I think I said they had two kids, but they actually only had one kid. Yeah, one child. And so the lady's just like weird and creepy, and she's going over the rules and stuff. And like, it's kind of like weird stuff. Like you can't work inside of the house, and which sometimes like in a rental, they don't let you like run a business in your house, whatever. But like he was a writer and he couldn't even write, like get on a computer and write books or anything like that. And there was this other like weird rules and stuff. And then they went down to like the basement, and they saw a blood stain on the wall, just creepy stuff like that gets you like, okay, what's going to happen or whatever. But anyway, how the story kind of goes is, and I'm not going to do a spoiler or anything like that. The lady, Mrs. Carver, was the one they always dealt with, but she wasn't the actual like landlord or owner of the house. She was just kind of like an agent. But the actual landlord was kind of like somebody that was untouchable. They never got to meet him. I don't even think they knew the landlord's name. But anyway, the husband ended up getting like a text message or something, and the landlord was offering him to do a job. And so it started off jobs just like the husband was kind of like handy. He could build stuff, hang up stuff, paint and all that kind of stuff. It was like doing some of that kind of stuff for rental properties, and he was getting like paid really good, and they was like starting to enjoy it, the extra money and stuff. But then pretty soon, I'll just say it like this, the job started getting more and more weird. And so it was kind of like a red flag or whatever. But anyway, things just kept going. And I mean, the living situation turned out to be really, really bad. Like Mrs. Carver and them had moved in somebody else to live in the basement without even telling the main couple or whatever. And just all kinds of stuff. And like when he was going and doing these jobs, like putting up chandeliers or whatever he was doing, he would see weird stuff in the other rental properties and just all this craziness. So it just ended up going. This book actually was a really, it was a page turner, definitely, because I wanted to see what was going to happen, what was going to come up out of this, who was really the landlord and everything, what was the end game, what were they trying to do to this couple or whatever. And so it was really interesting, really exciting. I really liked it. It's a domestic slash, it's kind of urban or whatever. So I really liked it. It was a really good book. The ending, I'll say, the ending was good, but I won't say that there was this tricky plot twist or anything. It wasn't predictable, but at the same time, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that either. It was just a really good ending. So I did like that book. And then Brandon Massey, I gotta look him up. Like I said, I think he does have a lot more books, but I like his style, and I do want to read some more books by him. So the next book, and a lot of you may have heard of this book before, and how I got this book even on my TBR was that Frida McFadden actually recommended this book herself. I'm in one of her groups or whatever, and she actually recommended this book. I love her recommendations. And that is a book called Love Mom. And the author, I don't know how to pronounce her name. I think it might be Leanna Zander. Xander. I've never heard of her before. This book actually came out maybe last year or something like that, so it's still fairly new. Like I said, Frida McFadden recommended it, so if she recommended it, I'm going to read it because she hasn't steered me wrong yet. But this book is so good. It's one of the best books that I ever read, like seriously. So this book is about the main character is a young lady named, she's probably like 20, 21 or something like that. Her name is Mackenzie. She has a best friend, a guy named EJ. Her mom is a world famous thriller author. And then she has a dad that's kind of like a loser, drunk or whatever. And then the dad's mom, who's the grandma. So the mom who's the author, you know, in the beginning of the book, they're like at her funeral or whatever. She ends up dying. They don't know if it's an accident or not or whatever. Mackenzie sees like weird things happening like at the funeral and stuff, like her dad arguing with some dude and just all this kind of shady stuff or whatever, but she's like, whatever. She doesn't really have much to do with her dad or her family. She actually lives in an apartment near her college that she goes to. And so the strange thing about it is that, and I might not be telling this right, I don't have a really good memory books no matter how good they are, but sometimes I get stuff wrong, but whatever. You'll get the gist of what the story is about. She ends up, like I said, the author mom, who's just totally famous and everything, just known all around, basically probably the world. Mackenzie ends up getting like a letter somewhere, like it slipped, either in the mailbox or maybe in her car or something like that. And it says some little stuff like, it seems like stuff that her mom would say. And it's like telling the story of her mom's past or whatever. And it's signed your number one fan, XOXO. And so how it goes is she gets more and more of these, like every couple of days or every week or whatever, she ends up getting another little piece to the puzzle. And it's like a little something that seems like it's from her mom's actual manuscripts and telling stories about actual things that happened in her mom's past. And it's piecing together like some of the stories she wrote, which were very gruesome, had murder, a lot of revenge or whatever. These little letters she getting, it seemed like it's giving the background history on how the mom came up with those concepts and what actually happened to mom back in the day. You guys, I'm not doing this story any justice. The way I'm telling it probably doesn't even sound good, but trust me, it is so good. It is definitely a page turner, and I would say this is probably one of the best. It has several plot twists actually, and they're some of the best that I've ever read. And it's literally one of those books that it ends and yada, yada, yada. And then there's this plot twist. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's who it was, or that's what happened, or that's the backstory or whatever. And then it just doesn't stop there. There ends up being another plot twist. In the movie, I always say movie. I say a lot in my videos, I make a mistake. The book, it is just so good. I stay interested. It took me a while to read just because I had a whole bunch of other stuff to do or whatever, but I probably could have really, if I put my mind to it, read it in one sitting because it was so interesting. It just made me want to just keep going. It's like, why this? Why that? Who is sending these letters and just all that kind of stuff. Why was the dad such a loser and all this kind of stuff? But it is so good, you guys. I highly recommend this book. Actually, if you have read Love Mom or The Landlord by Brandon Massey, drop it in the comments and let me know. I want to know what your thoughts are for The Landlord. I actually give that 3 stars. And you guys are thinking you only give it 3 and you're saying it's that good and everything. It was good, but it wasn't, I won't say it's like a masterpiece. And I'm kind of like stingy with my stars or whatever. And so, but Love Mom, I actually give that 5 stars. And I rarely do that. This may be like only the 3rd book or something that I gave 5 stars too, but it is that good. Trust me, it is so good. It's so good. And then plus people who write or into books and stuff, you'll like the theme that the mom actually wrote thriller books or whatever. It's kind of cool. But yeah, drop it in the comments if you read either one of those and let me know what your thoughts are. And please don't give any spoilers in the comments. But yeah, just let me know what your thoughts are. So yeah, that, I mean, based off of the 2 books that I read this summer, I had a pretty good summer. I'm actually reading something really, I'm not going to tell you guys what it is right now, but I'm reading another book that's starting off really good. And it's actually one that you all recommended to me. Several of you did. Like very recently, you guys recommended this book to me, and it's not Verity. It's something else. So I'm reading that right now. So far, so good. You know, I don't know how long it's going to take me to read it, but I will let you guys know what my thoughts are once I finish that one as well. So anyway, if you like this video, thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, hit subscribe and notifications so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And also, as usual, if you have any good thriller recommendations, I like domestic thriller, I like psychological thriller, I like popcorn-like thriller like Freida McFadden, I like office settings, I like roommate settings, you know, just, I mean, you name it. You guys, if you've been watching my channel, you know what kind of books I read and the ones that I really like or whatever. Drop those recommendations in the comments because I usually use a really random way of finding books. So I love recommendations. Like I said, these 2 books were actually recommendations that I just mentioned. But anyway, drop those in the comments, subscribe, like, share, and I will see you in the next video.